Hello, guys. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Today, our story from the user Mikey Reddity, and it is called My Girlfriend, F20, Loves Me to Death, while I, M21, do not understand my feelings anymore after several months that can only be categorized as a toxic roller coaster. I want to love her, but my judgment is clouded. Should I leave her or should I try to make things work? Story. I met my current girlfriend roughly 5 years ago online. I live in Western Europe and she lives in Eastern Europe. Our relationship started 2 years ago. We played and still play video games almost daily. We watch movies, and so as much as an online couple can really do. I have visited her twice and had a great time, but my feelings really diminished during this time period, and I will attempt to explain why. Chapter 1. Unstable Beginnings. Our relationship was toxic from the start. She got into our relationship right after ending another one. She was messaging her ex for months, and I had to eventually put my foot down. I didn't want to be insensitive and lose her in the process, so I allowed some behavior I shouldn't have stood for. Keep in my mind, this was my first real relationship, so I was new to this. Nonetheless, I gave it all I had. I wrote her poems, I made her smile, and I was there for her when she was sad. Another important thing to note is that she wasn't raised well. Her parents did not give her proper love and intention, and she was never taught how to express her emotions and was told that crying or expressing emotions is a bad thing to do. Her parents manipulated and insulted her, but she loves them anyway. However, she is also manipulative. She lacks any communication skills and has anger issues. I was aware of this, and I didn't care. I thought I could fix her, or at least help her. I loved her. I really did with all my heart, and I wanted only the best for her. I wanted her to improve, and I wanted to teach her that it's okay to express yourself, and I wanted to help her communicate better. Other things started happening. We played games, and whenever I beat her at a particular game, or placed higher than her, she would get angry and refuse to talk and sometimes go offline for hours. This made me feel terrible, and I let her win games to avoid this from happening. Again, I didn't want to push too much because she wasn't in a clear state of mind at the time, and I didn't want to lose this person I knew so well and I loved so much. Whenever I did bring something up, she would vaguely threaten to end the relationship. Like I said, manipulative and poor communication. This behavior continued. She was way too competitive and only enjoyed games if she played well, and if she didn't, she wouldn't talk to me. I told her I didn't like this, and I wanted to play casual games instead, but she would respond something like, "Well, then you shouldn't be with me." She also refused to block certain people and continued talking to her ex. She also refused whenever I asked if I could briefly say hi to her parents. Her parents gave her a really hard time for leaving her ex. They were abusive and made her feel suicidal. I offered to fly her out to me if things got rough, but she refused because she loves her family. A couple months went on, and I asked her if I could maybe come see her because she had told me before that I could visit around Christmas. However, whenever I brought up a visit, she would stop talking because she simply didn't know how to reply. I poured my heart out and she just sat there because, like I said, her communication skills weren't great. For some reason, she just didn't want me to visit yet, and I was understanding and accepted. However, she promised I could visit in January, and then February, then March, then May, and so on. And she always changed her mind. I told her that she could visit me, but she refused. I just enrolled into university that September, and it was a lot for me. I was living with relatives of mine that offered me a room closer to the school. I always rushed home so I could talk to her again, but the toxicity continued. Hours or days when she wouldn't talk to me, and this messed with me a lot. I was kind and understanding and made sure she knew she was loved. There were times she wouldn't tell me she loved me, and other times when she would refuse to call with me. Her language was manipulative, and she often hid things from me. A particular incident that scarred me very bad is when I woke up, and we were in a call, and she started doing a quiz with her sister about her sex life. And she went into detail about what she did with her ex, while I asked her to stop. Another incident followed when I had a long, painful day. I had a skin procedure that hurts a lot, and she knew about it. And I came home and wanted to take a nap, and she responded, "Okay, you can fuck up your sleeping schedule if you want." This was said in a very angry tone. I then responded, "Why would you say that?" And she said, "I forgot how sensitive you were." Roughly 4 months had passed since the start of our relationship, and I never got mad at her over her behavior. I had always controlled myself, but the feelings started to build up. It was the little things like the way she would talk in this demeaning, manipulative tone. For example, whenever she got sad over a game, I tried to comfort her and make her feel better, but she didn't like that. After a bad game, she would always leave and not communicate with me. So I tried to change tactics and be more understanding. One day she got mad over a game, and I simply asked, "Would you like some time to take a break?" And she got absolutely furious. I was being genuine and I was trying to be understanding, and she lost it. Another example is how she would constantly say other guys are hot and sexy. I don't lack self-confidence, but when she keeps saying it over and over again, it can hurt my feelings. Furthermore, I never say anything about any girls because I was only thinking about her. On Christmas Day, she broke up with me over text and told me I should move on. This hurt me really bad. I tried to ask her if we could make things work, or if she needed some time, or if we could be friends, and she said we could try. The day after, somebody was flirting with her in a game, and she didn't reject his advances, which hurt me. I told him to stop because she is my girlfriend, and she said she isn't my girlfriend anymore. Many events like these followed, and I all finally lost it. I was furious and finally spilled my guts. I told her how poorly she treated me, and she wasn't responding, but responded like I was a little child, and she called me pathetic. This made me angrier, and I started calling her names. Well, not names, but I called her evil, and I told her, "Good luck to any of your partners in the future because they will need it." I wasn't nice, but she kept responding in an awful way, which made me angrier and angrier, manipulating me into flipping my lid. She then showed the messages of me getting angry to her entire family. This damaged a lot because I offered many times to speak with her parents and to get to know them. I also started learning her language and prayed for her parents. But they judged me based on the messages she showed them, and she never said anything good about me. I was very suicidal, and if I didn't have my belief in God, I would have ended things. Chapter 2. A Tumultuous Road. January 2023 began. I had quit university because everything became too much for me. I was enjoying university and I had made some friends, but I couldn't handle the stress anymore. I loved her very much. I wanted a future with her. I was quite the romantic. I made a big deal out of our anniversaries, and I had sent her a huge box with a bunch of different gifts in October. Surprisingly, she reached out to me a couple days later. She missed me and said she wanted to make things work, for real this time. She apologized for what she had done. However, she brought up the one time I got angry many times to make me feel bad in the future. Things were rough. Her family hated my guts now, and they didn't allow her to speak to me anymore. We would have to hide our contact, and her sister called me a bunch of insults during our calls. Eventually, her family found out she was still speaking with me. They threatened to come to my house if I didn't stop talking with her. I had to call the police because I was genuinely worried for my family's safety. You might be wondering, why don't you just leave? Why do you continue? Well, everybody around me asked, and advised to step away, but I refused. I understood where they came from, but I loved her way too much. I would give my life for her. Keep in mind, not all was bad. We had many good, funny, nice moments in the past, and I cherished them. Unfortunately, she always focused on the bad. I really loved this girl with all my heart. I thought she was the one for me and made excuses for her behavior. We somehow started talking again. My memory is a bit vague around this time. I was still living with my relatives, despite quitting school. A couple weeks went by, and then I found out that a close online friend of ours had been asking my girlfriend for pictures and confessing his love to her. She handled this in the worst way and hid everything from me. I had to ask her over and over again before she confessed to what had happened. I told her to block him, and she refused because she didn't want to make him feel bad. My stress levels were still really high, and a lot of her manipulation continued, but this event made me lose it once again. I had to put up with the fact that her family was constantly insulting me, the fact that she said terrible things about me and showed them private messages. Also, the 2 weeks before were absolutely terrible. She continued her abuse, and whenever I called it out, she would somehow turn things on me or remind me of the one time I got angry at her to make me feel bad. I remember walking along the freeway, considering walking onto the road. She defended the guy and had deleted a bunch of her messages. I genuinely don't think she had any interest in him. He was a lot younger, but she just wouldn't block him. She cared more about him than our relationship. I was outside when I heard the news, and I wanted to die. I was driving and decided to drive my first car into a pole, destroying my car. This led to my relatives kicking me out their house. I had lost friends, my car, my education, family members' trust, and I was back at my parents'. Surprisingly, we didn't break up. Things finally started to go slightly better for our standards. The usual things kept happening: abuse, manipulation, refusing to block an ex, talking behind my back, hiding things, lying to my face, trust issues, issues in games, refusing to speak with me, etc. But she was finally learning from me. Her communication and love slowly improved. I taught her how to express herself, and that it's okay to be depressed. I showed her love, and she started to really show that love back. Things were going well, and we started to think of the future. She wanted to start studying, and she wanted to study here in my country. We came up with a plan and applied to many schools. I got a job to pay for an apartment, and I offered her help with getting a job over here and finding schools. She got rejected by 2 or 3 schools. We had put a lot of effort into this, but she got rejected several times. She implied several times that she would only come here if she got accepted, so a lot was on the line. You might wonder, why does she need an education to live here? And I asked her many times, and it was always a different excuse, but it mostly had to with the fact that her family hated me, and she couldn't move here without their approval. When she got rejected, I made a list of 10+ other schools she could apply to, but she had given up and refused to make things work. This broke me, because it meant I had to wait another 1.5 years to see her. I finally told her that that wasn't going to work for me, and I had to leave her. It wasn't as simple as that. There were many nights I was crying, begging her and trying to reason with her, but it was always the same response. She wouldn't change her mind. I saw no other choice. I left. Chapter 3, Promising Developments. A month had gone by. Summer started. I was alone, and I hit a new low. I had nobody to talk to, or nobody that really understood what I was going through. I'm amazed I got through this, because this was so unimaginably painful. I had lost everything, and now I lost her. I found out she started following her ex again on social media, which destroyed me. I went crazy. I couldn't understand why she did it. Words cannot describe how I felt that day. I had given her everything, and I just wanted to visit her, but she never wanted it. Keep in mind, her ex did visit her, and her family liked him because he got a chance to introduce himself. I never got the same treatment. They hated me because I got angry that one time, and they weren't changing their minds. I messaged her on social media and asked her why she would follow her ex again. I was devastated. This was the first time I'd contacted her in like 2 weeks. She responded that she was in a game and couldn't talk to me, which hurt me even more. When I asked her why she did it, she responded, "I don't know." I got angry, and then she blocked me everywhere, which hurt me even more. Weeks went by, and I occasionally sent her long emails, still trying to reason with her, and she was very inconsistent. Sometimes she would respond nicely, and sometimes she responded in a cold, heartless way. We had gone through so much together, and I still loved her very much. I eventually had to move on, because she wouldn't budge. I started making some friends online. They were nice people, and I finally had people to talk to again. I created a Discord server with them, and we played every day. I had found a distraction from my sadness. These were nice people that listened to me, and were there for me. I somehow started talking to her again. She was sounding more reasonable and started to budge on particular issues, saying she would try to make things work, and she would try to visit me. I then found out that she had enrolled in a school in her country, which hurt me because there were still so many schools she could have applied for over here. She got accepted there, and that would mean another 3 years I would have to wait to be with her. She, however, finally sounded more open to a potential visit. She had promised many times to visit me, but broke every single promise. We had planned several trips. Well, I did. I had everything figured out, and I would pay for the flight. She agreed many times and said she would speak to her parents, but she would either delay or not do it at all. She wanted to hide it from her parents because, yes, they still hated me. We got close many times, but it never succeeded. She had made many promises about many particular dates to fly, but could never make it happen with her parents. I told her she is 20 years old, and she can make her own decisions, but that wasn't an option in her mind. In the meantime, I was getting a lot closer to these friends online. I even visited a couple of them in July or August. My girlfriend knew about these people, and she was jealous. I asked her if she wanted to join the server, and I had told her nothing happened between me and them, which was true. I still only had her in mind and never wanted anybody else. I told her that I can show her my messages to others to assure her that nothing had happened, but she was still very paranoid. Eventually things picked up, and she started talking to them, but she was still very reluctant. We started gaming again, and things were finally going in a right direction. There were many times we didn't speak to each other for days, or blocked each other because of issues related to her family, her promises, or visiting each other, but somehow we always pulled through. We loved each other. Weeks went by and I didn't pressure her about a visit anymore. Things were going well. We were watching a lot of movies and her behavior had improved significantly. She was better at communicating, she was trying to be more honest and open, and she showed me more love. She really loved me, and we began to grow together. However, I was still very worried. She had applied for a school that would take 3 years, and she told me she'd be quit after 1 year. But she was very inconsistent about that. One day she would say one thing, and the other day she would say something else. I just didn't know what my future would be because it was in her hands, and she didn't give me any clarity. She also finally spoke to her father about me, which made me happy. She was making steps. However, 2 months after she spoke to him, she revealed that her father said 2 months ago that if he really loves you, he will wait 3 years for you. This felt so messed up to me, mainly because she hid that detail for months. I'm also leaving out a lot of abuse, but this post is already long enough. I had given up on visiting her, but as we healed and we grew closer together, I randomly just asked if I could visit her, and she, surprisingly, agreed. I would see this girl for the first time, and I was excited. Chapter 4. A Broken Heart. I visited her in autumn, twice. We had a great time. I did go into some debt because I paid for both trips. The flights weren't booked well in advance, so I had to pay a lot more. I also paid for a hotel, food, and gifts. She was poor and couldn't afford these things. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to have a good time. Things went really well. I loved her country and made an effort to speak her language, and I even showed her around her own city. She never got out much, and she didn't know the city well, and I am really good with maps and organizing things. She loved it. She was head over heels, and she adored me in real life. I could see the love in her eyes. She wanted to be with me for the rest of my life. However, I did find out while I was there that she was still talking to that one friend of ours that asked her for pictures. I found out she had played games with him while we weren't talking, and she didn't tell, and wouldn't have told me if I didn't see a notification of his on her phone. She didn't want to show me, but I had to ask many times, and she eventually showed me. I forgave her and hugged her and told her I loved her. These trips messed with me. I knew she absolutely loved me, there was no doubt. However, my feelings started to get weird for the first time. I felt odd. I didn't feel like myself. I had lived for her for the past year, and I lost myself. I didn't know if I loved her anymore, and I didn't know why I wouldn't. I tried to ignore these feelings and thought everything will be okay, but unsurprisingly, it wasn't okay. Something just didn't feel right. I was looking forward to seeing her for so long, after asking her hundreds of times, and it finally happened, but it just fell short. We had a great time, But I think I was so excited after wanting something for so long that I had unrealistic expectations. My emotions were out of whack. I was confused, very confused. I used to want to be with her for the rest of my life, but that urge was disappearing. She was getting better, and she was nicer, and gave casual games a go. And we watched more movies, and she was more confident in our relationship, and she loved me more and more. Also, she was the one that asked me to be her boyfriend in the first place, in case I didn't mention that. I was finally achieving my goals. I helped her. She was getting better every day. However, I think it was too late for me. I think the damage had been done. Weeks followed, and we played with this friend group I introduced her to almost every day. Something was wrong with my feelings, and I tried to hide them because I just didn't understand them. I didn't know why I was feeling this way. I still don't know. Winter was coming, and I didn't for some reason want to visit her again. I was totally confused. I felt like I had lost myself completely. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I want anymore. I don't know what I want my future to be. My mind is in chaos. I'm trying to convince myself I love her, but everything I used to do feels like so much more effort now, despite the fact that she is finally becoming healthy and kind to me. It must be a combination of everything that happened. I don't know. I can't really find anything online to help me. I am lost. I feel like I lost every bit of me trying to help her. I don't enjoy the things I used to anymore. I don't sleep well. I don't eat well. My emotions change every second. I couldn't keep up with myself. I didn't know what to do. Months went by, and I hoped that every day I would wake up and feel better, but nothing happened. Eventually, she started to catch on. I wasn't writing poems anymore, and I wasn't telling her I love her as much as I used to. I told her things were fine, because I didn't want to hurt her by telling her my feelings have changed. Time went on, and I finally told her, and as I suspected, she took it really hard. She had finally started to get better, and she didn't understand how I could be feeling this way. But to be fair, I didn't understand either. I told her I wanted to make things work, and that we can get through it together, and that I will do my best to fix things. I tried to give her all the love I could. I sang her songs before she fell asleep. I gave her online kisses and hugs and compliments, but she could tell I was getting worse. I was depressed. I quit school again because I couldn't motivate myself to do anything anymore. Every little thing became too much for me. I even had trouble with brushing my teeth or doing anything I used to enjoy. All the pain finally caught up to me. The only distraction I had was this friend group that I tried to spend a lot of time with. They all liked me and appreciated me, and it made me forget about the bad things. However, my girlfriend became very paranoid after I had broken the news. She was very worried and very jealous, and this led to her anger and manipulation coming back again. She spoke behind my back to people in the server about our relationship, and whenever I asked her what she was talking about with them, she would say that it's nothing. She hated that I spent time with other people, and constantly accused me of liking other people or putting other people first, but that was never the case. She was still my number one, and I still treated her well despite my mental health declining. I tried my best to do things with her and spend time with her, but she was so inconsistent and she didn't communicate well and often didn't want to hang out because she was angry or sad, which led to things becoming a lot more difficult. I tried to do anything I could to make her feel better, but I think she mentally gave up after she had heard that my feelings had shifted. I told her in the nicest way, too, because I knew it would hurt her. Then the day came that everything collapsed. Apparently, like I said, she had been talking with my friends behind my back. She was manipulating the situation and making people not like me and empathize with her. All I really needed was her to be with me, honest with me and support me when I wasn't doing well. But I think she gave up. One day I had been sending her messages all day, and she ignored it because she was playing video games with these people all day, and she didn't even tell me what she was doing. She told me she had played earlier, but she didn't mention that she was still playing when she was talking to me that night. I wanted to talk to her, but it took her hours to reply to me, and she was more focused on them and the game than me. This made me angry, and I told her I didn't want to talk anymore. She then showed these private messages to the people she was playing with, my friends, and provided no context and made me look bad. She then told me she wasn't going to accept this anymore and blocked me everywhere. This made me very sad, and I left the server that I had created in the first place with 30+ people. I then found out that she posted a huge message in the server after I had left. This message was an attack on me, an assassination of my character. She told me that I was the one that was manipulative and abusive. Well, I had done nothing like that. I was always clear and honest with her and tried my best when I wasn't doing well. There was no reason this message had to be sent. This was our relationship. And she said these things in front of everyone, people I had known for months and built relationships with. She said that friends made her realize how I scarred her. This message was the most manipulative, distasteful, mean thing I have ever seen her do. I had no idea she was talking behind our back about our relationship. Apparently she was saying bad things about me and showing private messages to make me look worse to the people I introduced her to. And the worst part is that she knew how much I cared about the server. I had put so much time into gathering these people, making everyone feel comfortable and creating a healthy, peaceful environment for the members with movie nights and game nights and a lot of other things. She knew how much it would hurt me. Most people left the server after I left the server. Most people sided with me and sent me messages comforting me, but I wasn't in a state to reply. I wanted to be gone forever, to put things lightly. I did bad things to myself, and I couldn't understand why someone who I had spent so much time with and who I had visited twice would do that to me. I gave her all the love I had, but it wasn't enough for her as soon as I wasn't doing well mentally. I never took out mental pain on her and kept it inside so she wouldn't be affected. I did anything to not hurt her. She was still my first priority above all else. The server collapsed. Some people didn't trust me anymore after that message of hers. Others reached out to me and were very kind and created their own server, but I couldn't join because I was too traumatized. She kept playing with the same people that she was talking to behind my back in the first place, while I was doing nothing. I had nobody, and I played nothing, watched nothing, and lost my hope and trust. She kept hanging out with this guy I told her not to, but she refused every time. She even promised she wouldn't anymore, and then did it again the day after. She put herself and others in front of me when I needed her the most. I sent her an email because she had blocked me everywhere, just asking her, why? Why did I deserve this? She responded and apologized, and she said she hated herself. She regretted her actions and said she did it because she didn't know what else to do. She kept playing with these people anyway and didn't make things right. She apologized constantly to me, but she refused to make things right. I told her I forgive her and I love her, but I was very hurt. For 3 weeks she was playing with them every day after the server had collapsed while I was laying in bed because I couldn't do anything anymore mentally. And now we're talking again somehow. She is still very sorry, but she doesn't change her behavior. She apologizes and knows I forgive quickly, but she does the same things over and over again and betrays my trust daily, for unexplainable reasons. I have been through it all, and somehow I'm still here talking to her, but my feelings are more confused than ever. She wants a life with me, a future with me, but I don't know what I want anymore. She wants to come back to the server and talk to everyone again, but it's just too hard for me at the moment. I felt like was betrayed, stabbed in the back, after I gave her everything I had, and no apologies could really fix that. I didn't insult her. I forgave her, but just because I forgave her doesn't mean I have a huge trust issues now. She wants me, and wants to love me and be with me, but I don't know anymore, honestly. I don't think I can take this anymore. I still think I love her, I don't know, but I like spending time with her. I like watching movies with her, playing games with her, but I don't think I want a future with her anymore, and I can't really understand why. I don't know what to do anymore, and I need help, and I'm sorry for my very long post. Writing is a kind of therapy for me. I think I had to just get it all out, and I don't know if anybody will see this, but again, I apologize for the long time I took up if you read this. Any responses or second opinion would be appreciated, negative or positive. I just want to know what to do now. Should I leave everything behind and start over? What can I do to fix myself mentally and recover and put me back on the right path? What do I do with my relationship? Thank you for any answers. And once again, apologies if this post is messy. I'm summarizing thousands of events into one post, leaving out many, probably vital things and details, but I tried my best, so I hope it's enough to understand my situation. Thank you again. Comment from user blanket statement 5. People like that will have their good days and their bad days. That's very common. If they weren't capable of having good days, they would never be able to get into relationships. And they need to be nice sometimes because they know if they're never nice, you'll leave. But you're not supposed to have to put up with abuse in order to experience good days. I didn't bother to read the whole thing, sorry, but I read enough to know that she's toxic. She has a lot of issues that are exceedingly rare for someone to fix, and you would be far better off breaking up. Update. I'm considering traveling to the USA to join the military, preferably Army or National Guard. But I haven't done enough research to really understand what everything means. I have lived in the Netherlands my whole life, but have an American passport and have the desire to move and join the military. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. See you again.